Good morning from sacred space at Titania's realm. It's 10:10 a.m. on. I want to shut that window, it's very windy. Where were we? Shut both windows. Sorry. It's 10:10 a.m. on the 9th of May 2025. And I thought I would carry on reading from W.B. Yeats' selected poetry. And these selection of poems are from his book of poems called The Tower. Sailing to Byzantium. 1. That is no country for old men, the young in one another arms, birds in the trees, those dying generations, at their song. The salmon falls, the mackerel crowded seas, fish, flash or foul, commend all summer long, whatever is begotten, born and dies. Caught in that sensual music, all neglect monuments of unaging intellect. 2. An aged man is but a paltry thing, a tattered coat upon a stick, unless soul clap its hands and sing, and louder sing for every tatter in its mortal dress, nor is there singing school, but studying monuments of its own magnificence, and therefore I have sailed the seas and come to the holy city of Byzantium. 3. O sages standing in God's holy fire as in the gold mosaic of a wall, come from the holy fire, burn in a gyre, and be the singing masters of my soul. Consume my heart away, sick with desire, and fasten to a dying animal, it knows not what it is, and gather me into the artifice of eternity. 4. Once out of nature, I shall never take my bodily form from any natural thing, but such a form as Grecian goldsmiths make, of hammered gold and gold enamelling, to keep a drowsy emperor awake, or set upon a golden bough to sing to lords and ladies of Byzantium of what is past, or passing, or to come. 1927. I smiled because I was just thinking before I started that last verse that I should show you my bracelet. I almost finished last night. I've still got to get the bezel. The fine sheet hasn't arrived yet. It's taking a long time this time, getting a bit irritated. But it's coming from India, so I guess I just have to be patient. Anyway, I'm waiting for this fine bezel sheet, and then I'll make the bezel and solder it on and set the stone. But I finished soldering the embellishments on the ends of the cuff. I'll just go and get it. I'll show it to you. I was just thinking about that when I mentioned hammered gold and gold enameling. Not that mine's in gold. I can't afford gold, but one day, people are there. One day. So here's what happened, right? With great difficulty, I had a lot of difficulty. I worked on it till must have been nearly 11 o'clock, and then I went to bed and I couldn't sleep because my nervous system was just online and excited and overstimulated from working on this all night. But this is the front, right? I think I've shown you that before. I'm just waiting to do set the bezel, and I've got to solder another little ball on that fell off, damn it. And for some reason it kept falling off, so that's another little jobby I've got to do. But I've got to set the stone, but that doesn't happen till the very last thing, because you've got to make sure everything's soldered in place first. Anyway, and setting the stone can be the part where it all goes wrong, right? It's very nerve-wracking. So I was very nerve-wracked yesterday, soldering on these little embellishments I made with my new shot plates, little Pegasus, just one of my favourite mythological animals. That and dragons and and unicorns. I'm more fond of the horsey-looking ones, centaurs and unicorns and Pegasus, because I love horses. And my maiden name Phillips actually means lover of horses. Oh, the irony. But anyway, my part of the line are all a bit bloody eccentric, quite frankly, so there is that. But anyway, it is what it is. We're all very spiritual people, healers, psychics, wanderers. My grandfather was a dowser for gold and oil and water, which a lot of people did in the old days, help farmers find water. But he could find gold and oil, and he was a very clever man. A clever man, a gifted man. Anyway, so I soldered on one, and it was a few attempts, and then it just eventually I decided to sweat solder both ends, both sides. No, it was this one that's perfect. And eventually it did solder, and I was so astonished because I had given up and fallen into despair, as I do when I continuously fail. And unfortunately some of the solder or silver ran over and kind of marred it a bit. So really, if I was really professional, I should just pull it off and do it again from scratch. But look, I'm just so happy that I fucking got this far. I'll just try and sand it off somehow, grind it off. Anyway, so there was that little jobby, right? And by this time when I finished this, I think it was about 9:30, 10 p.m. at night, and I was getting tired. I normally go to sleep lately around about 10, 10:30, 11 on average. Used to be up till 2 in the morning every morning, but with the CPAP therapy, circadian rhythm shifted into something that passes for more normal, what is normal people of Earth. Anyway, I actually, I turned off both gas tanks, the oxygen and the LPG, turned it completely off, and I bled the lines in my torch and packed it away. And something I seem to have a guardian angel that's acting as a muse lately, said to me, I know you're tired and you want to go to bed, but you've got more in you. What? I said? What? Because it was just so opposite of what I was wanting to do. I said, but I'm packing everything away. I've put all the gas things away and Smith little torches away. I reckon, they said, just for kicks, why don't you bring out the other embellishment and solder the other side? And then you'll have it completed tonight, the whole bracelet. Well, not the whole bracelet, because we've got to do this bit here, But I said to myself, but I'm tired and I might make a mistake and I might ruin the whole piece, and then I really will be devastated because I've been working on it, on and off for weeks. So I've put it away and picked it up and had another crack at it. No, they said, we're of the opinion that you should just finish the soldering. And I kind of had a bit of a panic attack because late at night when you're tired is when you have made mistakes. Anyway, I went back in, and it's not a very good soldering job, this one on the left-hand side or the right-hand side. This one. I'll show you why. It's soldered, but only on an edge, like, how can I show you? See how it's sitting up? That should have been lower down. But it's so, I've tried bending it and pulling it off. I can unsolder it. I can put heat on it to loosen it, take it off again. But I just thought, you know what? I'm happy that it's soldered because it took a long time. I didn't sweat solder it, which was my mistake. And I half expected to melt the little Pegasus because I've melted one already that I've already turned back into a ball ready to remake into something. And I thought, well, I didn't melt the Pegasus, so whatever I'm doing, I'm improving. So I just sanded it. You can see where I filed at the edge to smooth the edge so that it's not digging into your flesh. But look, it's only for me. It's not. I'm not going to sell it, people there. The only trouble is now that I've got the Pegasus on it, you have to have it a certain way to have it. It's got to be, there's an up and a down now, whereas before it didn't matter. Right, here we go. But look, honestly, even though it's a bit of a bodgy job, I'm really happy with it. I really am. And you know, I started this with the little spoon handles because I just thought, oh, I wonder if I could make those into a cuff. And let's just see what I can do. And every step it's just, oh, well, let's just see if I can do it. And every step I got closer and closer to fruition. I was like, apparently I'm doing this. There's a bit of a melted dent happened in this little ball though. I don't know how that, can you see it? Don't know how that happened. Anyway, I've still got heat on it somehow. Anyway, that's a bodgy ball too, so. But look, you know, as a fairly beginner, I'm not a rank beginner silversmith, but I'm still not, I wouldn't consider myself proficient yet, clearly, by that soldering job. Oh yeah, you can see where it's completely out of alignment. That one's perfect. Maybe I should just pull it off and do it again, but anyway, I could do that. I could pull it off and do it again. Give it a good wrench. No, it's soldered on, even though it's out of alignment. It's actually got a really strong bond. So I don't know. Some things are meant to be quirky, like me. But if I was going to sell it to someone, which I have no intention of because it's for me, I would have to take that off and do that again because it's very unprofessional, amateurish. No, I tell you. If I had some gold, which I have a tiny little bit of gold, but not enough to do. I don't have any gold wire. I would put some little embellishments just on the sides there after I do the bezel, just to finish off those lines there. Maybe I might actually buy a little tiny bit of gold wire. I mean, it wouldn't be that expensive. You're not going to need a lot. Think about that. Got some little stripes there. And because there's flowers and I've got little tiny butterfly shot plates, I chose to put Pegasus, but I could have put little butterflies on the end, which would have been more in keeping with the floral, the elven bridal bouquet tribute. But anyway, pattern I mean. So anyway, I'm working on it, people of Earth. I'm working on it. And I'm very happy with it. I might try, because there's some kind of gaps there where I soldered these. They're on quite strong and I've bent it and they haven't fallen off, but I think I should try and fill those a bit with silver dust or something, just to fill in the gaps. Yes. And fortify that a bit. I'll have to do that before I do the bezel too. So, still a work in process. But look, when I put it on, even though it hasn't got the bezel yet, it already looks sort of lovely. And now I kind of know what to do, what I'm doing. I could always make more and improve on my skills. You know, the most expensive part was buying the lovely spoons. The rest I made from sheet, and these were made from scrap silver I turned into little balls and hammered down. So, you know, not terribly expensive, but buying the spoons in the antique shops is the expensive part. But look, you know, you've got something lovely to look at the end of it, and I'm very, very bloody thrilled, quite frankly. Yes. So that was Spirit Driven, finishing off that one. And when I said, well, look, I told you it would go wrong. I said, I'm tired and it's late at night, and I just couldn't believe when it actually did fuse, because it didn't look like it was going to work at all. And I said, there you go, I've wasted my evening and now I'm pissed off. They said, no, it will work, just persevere. And they sat with me till I finished it. So something is with me, probably a guardian spirit, a protector, and acting as an actual muse, saying, right, you're going to make this today, this is what you're going to do. I get told. It'd be amazing if they helped me with my love life, wouldn't it? They might find me a good man at long last. Oh dear goddess. Anyway, we won't get sidelined by that, because we know Mama T knows how that always goes for her. So I'll just ride through with my creativity and my lonely walk and read you poetry, people of Earth. They're yelling out, you have a good man in your life. Oh really? Do I? I do actually. Platonic, my wonderful doctor, and my wonderful friend Jared. No doubt there's a few men out there that are kind and look on me favourably, you know, sweet and harmless and not wishing to destroy me like they do when they form an emotional attachment. Dear goddess. Right, we'll carry on with the poetry. This one is called The Tower. What shall I do with this absurdity? O heart, O troubled heart, this caricature, decrepit age, it has been tied to me as to a dog's tail. Never had I more excited, passionate, fantastical imagination, nor an ear and eye that more expected the impossible. No, not in boyhood, when with rod and fly, or the humbler worm, I climbed Ben Bulben's back, and had the livelong summer day to spend. Ben Bulben must be some kind of mountain outcrop. It seems that I must bid the muse go pack, choose Plato and Plotinus for a friend, until imagination, ear and eye can be content with argument and deal in abstract things, or be derided by a sort of battered kettle at the heel. 2. I pace upon the battlements and stare on the foundations of a house, or where just trying to find my there it is. Sorry, just suddenly this heat, I'm fuming with heat. It's very hot in this little corner because both windows are supposed to converge and the heat comes pouring in, although it's not hot outside, surely. 22 degrees. Wow, the joys of being a well-seasoned woman. Like a fine wine. Right, where was I? I pace upon the battlements and stare on the foundations of a house, or where tree, like a sooty finger, starts from the earth, and send imagination forth under the day's declining beam, and call images and memories from ruin and from ancient trees. For I would ask a question of them all. Beyond that ridge lived Mrs. French, and once when every silver candlestick or sconce lit up the dark mahogany and the wine, a serving man that could divine that most respected lady's every wish, ran and with the garden shears clipped an insolent farmer's ears and brought them in a little covered dish. Some few remembered still when I was young, a peasant girl commended by a song, who'd lived somewhere upon that rocky place, and praised the colour of her face, and had the greater joy in praising her, remembering that, if walked she there, farmers jostled at the fair, so great a glory did the song confer. And certain men, being maddened by those rhymes, or else by toasting her a score of times, rose from the table and declared it right to test their fancy by their sight. But they mistook the brightness of the moon for the prosaic light of day. Music had driven their wits away. Astray people. Astray in fairy culture is when you're completely befuddled and confused and can't find your way out of the forest. You should take off a garment and put it inside out, and you suddenly find your way back out of that. Stray. Music had driven their wits astray, and one was drowned in the great bog of Cluny. Strange, but the man who made the song was blind, yet now I have considered it, I find that nothing strange. The tragedy began with Homer, that was a blind man, and Helen has all living hearts betrayed. Oh, may the moon and sunlight seem one inextricable beam, for if I triumph I must make men mad. And I myself created Hanrahan and drove him drunk or sober through the dawn from somewhere in the neighbouring cottages. Caught by an old man's juggleries, he stumbled, tumbled, fumbled to and fro, and had but broken knees for hire, and horrible splendour of desire. I thought it all out 20 years ago. Good fellows shuffled cards in an old bawn, and when that ancient ruffian's turn was on, he so bewitched the cards under his thumb that all but the one card became a pack of hounds and not a pack of cards, and that he changed into a hare. Hanrahan rose in frenzied air and followed up those baying creatures towards, towards I have forgotten what. Enough. I must recall a man that neither love nor music nor an enemy's clipped ear could. He was so harried cheer. A figure that has grown so fabulous, there's not a neighbour left to say, when he finished his dog's day, an ancient, bankrupt master of this house. Before that ruin came, for centuries, rough men-at-arms, cross-gartered to the knees, or shod in iron, climbed the narrow stairs, and certain men-at-arms there were, whose images in the great memory stored, come with loud cry and panting breast, to break upon a sleeper's rest, while their great wooden dice beat on the board. Just thinking, I wish that easel metal would arrive so I could get on, finish my lovely bracelet, polish it up and wear it in good health, people of Earth. Good health, prosperity, and truest, greatest love gifted by the gods. Am I right? Maybe my muse is my one and only. No, that would be weird. I need a man of flesh and bones and sinew and virility and capability and honour and courage and coup, and true and deep love for me as well. Wow. We need and we want and we wish and we yearn for and we desire, and it all blows up in the Phoenixian fire. You have to laugh. As I would question all who can, come old, necessitous, half-mounted man, and bring beauty's blind ramblings celebrate, the red man, the juggler sent, though God-forsaken meadows, Mrs. French, through God-forsaken meadows, Mrs. French, gifted with so fine an ear, the man drowned in a bog's mire, when mocking muses chose the country wench. One should never mock one's muses. They'll work you to the death, as they do, quite literally. Just when I packed up and finished last night, no, you need to go in and give it one good try and solder the other side on. Can't it wait till tomorrow? I said. No, but I'm tired, I said. I'm tired. You see how they're working me literally to my own death? Well, what else am I going to do? Could be making love to a passionate, sexy, comforting, noble, wondrous lover who has my back, my front and my sides and eyes only for me. But instead, late into the night, I have a muse demanding I work at my silversmithy. But as of Tuesday, I won't be able to work late into the night in that studio because I'll have birdies again. But as Jared pointed out, I could put them in the other room to sleep while I work in there, which is true. I could do that. But I must be conscious of making sure they go to sleep at exactly, sundown. Otherwise, birdies go cray and start to die. Need our rest, people of Earth. You must actually emulate the birds. We need our rest, but my muse won't have it. They'd have me up working all through the night if they could. Well, if I had the energy, I would have done so, but I really was quite. After I finished it, I was so excited that I sort of succeeded at it. I mean, it's a bit dodgy, but it is soldered on quite strongly. After all that, I thought, lay in bed with my CPAP mask going like the bride of Darth Vader. I can't fucking sleep now. Could have got up and kept going, couldn't I? Well, I would have if I'd had the bezel wire. I wrote about it on Facebook this morning. I did a very dangerous, crazy thing actually. It's how tired I was and hungry because I forgot to have dinner last night because, my muse. So anyway, I got up at 11:30 p.m. Oh my goodness, struggling to sleep. I'm not going to struggle, it's a waste of time. I'm not sleeping, I must be hungry. Sometimes I'm hungry. So I got up and I put 2 pieces of toast in the toaster. And yes, I know, I'm segueing in the middle of a poem. I know, I'm annoying like that. And I fried 2 eggs. And while I was frying 2 eggs, I put 2 small tins of baked beans in, 1 each, baked beans and spaghetti, in a glass bowl in the microwave. Glass is meant to be microwave proof, is it not? Anyway, while I'm waiting for that to cook, I hear a crack. And I look, and the glass bowl's snapped in half, and there's baked beans and spaghetti all over the microwave. Fuck, I thought, fuck. So I pull it out and I think, it's a clean cut. There's no fragments as far as I could tell. So I scooped the food into a bowl, put it back in the microwave, continued to heat it up, and ate it. I know, how crazy was that? This is what I do when I'm off my head with exhaustion and hunger and being intrepid. So I ate the whole thing. I didn't find any crunchy bits, thankfully. But then, this is the crazy part. Then I've had my meal, I'm satiated, I go back to sleep. On goes the CPAP mask. I'm lying there having anxiety attacks. Hope I didn't eat any tiny shards of glass because that'll fuck my guts up, which is already fucked up with the Viagra. I almost flared up my IBS and flared up my reflux, and I feel like hell. I didn't have my 14th dose today. I'm supposed to be on it a month. I think I'll go off it. It's making me too unwell. And it's not actually done anything for the bladder, so there is that. It was up 4 times again last night. So, well, technically 5, because one of the times was getting up, giving up on sleeping and getting up. So anyway, I lay there for a while, freaking out about maybe potentially having ingested tiny, tiny fragments of glass. And it's going to be good for the bowels, I thought. Lay there shivering and shaking for a while. You're suicidal, Tanya. You're always just that little bit undercurrent of suicidal, do risk-taking things like eat from a broken bowl of glass. It's a bit odd, people are that. But anyway, obviously everything was fine, otherwise I'd be writhing in agony or dead. Just saying. And but yes, Tuesday when my little birds arrive, there'll be no more working them through the night in that room if they're sleeping in there. You just got to be considerate. Got to be considerate, people there. Right, we'll carry on with the poem. It's quite a long one. Did all old men and women, rich and poor, who trod upon these rocks or passed this door, I just want to sing Heart of Glass. It's my sixth sense of humour, you have to laugh. Whether in public or in secret rage, as I do now against old age. But I have found an answer in those eyes. Babies. That are impatient to be gone. Go therefore, but leave Hanrahan, for I need all his mighty memories. Old lecher with a love on every wind, bring up out of that deep considering mind all that you have discovered in the grave, for it is certain that you have reckoned up every unforeknown, unseeing plunge, lured by a softening eye, or by a touch or a sigh, into the labyrinth of another's being. Does the imagination dwell the most upon a woman won or woman lost? If on the lost admit you turned aside from a great labyrinth, out of pride, cowardice, some silly over subtle thought, or anything called conscience once, and that if memory recur, the sun's under eclipse, and the day blotted out. Verse 3. It is time that I wrote my will. I choose upstanding men that climb the streams until the fountain leap, and at dawn drop their cast at the side of dripping stone. I declare they shall inherit my pride, the pride of people that were bound neither to cause nor to state, neither to slaves that were spat on, nor to the tyrants that spat. The people of Burke and of Grattan that gave, though free to refuse, pride like that of the morn, when the headlong light is loose, or that of the fabulous horn, or that of the sudden shower, when all streams are dry, or that of the hour when the swan must fix his eye upon a fading gleam, float out upon a long last reach of glittering stream, and there sing his last song. And I declare my faith, I mock Plotinus' thought, and cry in Plato's teeth. Death and life were not, till man made up the whole, made lock, stock, and barrel, out of his bitter soul. I sun and moon and star, all, and further add to that, being dead, we rise, dream and so create translunar paradise. I have prepared my peace with learned Italian things, and the proud stones of Greece, poets' imaginings, and memories of love, memories of the words of women, all those things whereof man makes a superhuman, mirror resembling dream. As at the loophole there, the doors chatter and scream, and drop twigs layer upon layer. When they have mounted up, the mother bird will rest on their hollow top, and so warm her wild nest. I leave both faith and pride to young upstanding men climbing the mountain side, that under bursting dawn they may drop a fly, being of that metal made, till it was broken by this sedentary trade. Now shall I make my soul, compelling it to study in learned school, till the wreck of body, slow decay of blood, testy delirium, or dull decrepitude, or what worse evil come, the death of friends, or death of every brilliant eye that made a catch in the breath, seem but the clouds of the sky when the horizon fades, or a bird's sleepy cry among the deepening shades. 1926. Meditations in time of civil war. 1. Ancestral houses. Surely among a rich man's flowering lawns, amid the rustle of his planted hills, life overflows without ambitious pains, and rains down life until the basin spills, and mounts more dizzy high the more it rains, as though to choose whatever shape it wills, and never stoop to a mechanical or servile shape at others' beck and call. Mere dreams, yet Homer had not sung, had he not found it certain beyond dreams, that out of life's own self-delight had sprung the abounding glittering jet, though now it seems as if some marvellous empty seashell flung out of the obscure dark of the rich streams, and not a fountain, were the symbol which shadows the inherited glory of the rich. Some violent, bitter man, some powerful man, called architect and artist in, that they, bitter and violent men, might rear in stone the sweetness that all longed for night and day. Sweetness. longed for night and day. The gentleness none there had ever known, but when the masters buried mice can play, and maybe the great-grandson of that house, for all its bronze and marbles, but a mouse. Oh, what of gardens where the peacock strays, with delicate feet upon old terraces, or else all Juno from an urn displays before the indifferent garden deities. Oh, what of levelled lawns and gravelled ways, where slippered contemplation finds its ease, and childhood a delight for every sense, but take our greatness with our violence. What if the glory of escutcheoned doors, and buildings that a haughtier age designed, the pacing to and fro on polished floors, amid great chambers and long galleries lined with famous portraits of our ancestors? What if those things, the greatest of mankind, consider most to magnify or to bless, but take our greatness with our bitterness? 2. My house. An ancient bridge and a more ancient tower, a farmhouse that is sheltered by its wall, an acre of stony ground, where the symbolic rose can break and flower, old ragged elms, old thorns innumerable, the sound of the rain or sound of every wind that blows, the stilted water hen crossing stream again, scared by the splashing of a dozen cows. This message is born on that wind. I can sense it. Powerful people of earth. Powerful. A winding stair, a chamber arched with stone, a grey stone fireplace with an open hearth, a candle and written page. Il Penseroso's Platonist toiled on in some like chamber, shadowing forth how the daemonic rage imagined everything. Benighted travellers from markets and from fairs have seen his midnight candle glimmering. 2 men have found it here. A man at arms gathered a score of horse and spent his days in this tumultuous spot, where through long wars and sudden night alarms his dwindling score and he seemed castaways, forgetting and forgot, and I that after me my bodily heirs may find, to exalt a lonely mind, befitting emblems of adversity. 3. My table. Two heavy trestles and a board where Sato's gift, a changeless sword, by pen and paper lies, that it may moralize my days out of their aimlessness. A bit of an embroidered dress covers its wooden sheath. Chaucer had not drawn breath when it was forged in Sato's house, curved like new moon, moon luminous. It lay 500 years, yet if no change appears, no moon, only an aching heart conceives a changeless work of art. Our learned men have urged that when and where 'twas forged, a marvellous accomplishment in painting or in pottery went from father unto son, and through the centuries ran, and seemed unchanging like the sword. Soul's beauty being most adored, men and their business took the soul's unchanging look for the most rich inheritor, knowing that none could pass heaven's door that loved inferior art, had such an aching heart that he, although a country's talk for silken clothes and stately walk, had waking wits, it seemed, like Juno's peacock screamed. For my descendants, having inherited a vigorous mind from my old fathers, I must nourish dreams and leave a woman and a man behind as vigorous of mind, and yet it seems life scarce can cast a fragrance on the wind, scarce spread a glory to the morning beams, but the torn petals strew the garden plot, and there's but common greenness after that. And what if my descendants lose the flower through natural declension of the soul, through too much business with the passing hour, through too much play, or marriage with a fool? Dear God, it's been there. Not inclined to do that again. May this laborious stair and this stark tower become a roofless ruin, that the owl may build in the cracked masonry and cry her desolation to the desolate sky. The primum mobile that fashioned us has made the very owls in circles move, and I that count myself most prosperous, seeing that love and friendship are enough, for an old neighbour's friendship chose the house and decked and altered it for a girl's love, and know whatever flourish and decline, these stones remain their monument and mine. 5. The road at my door. An affable irregular, a heavily built Falstaffian man, comes cracking jokes of civil war as though to die by gunshot were the finest play under the sun. A brown lieutenant and his men, was it lieutenant? I think in the UK they say lieutenant. I'm not sure. A brown lieutenant and his men, half dressed in national uniform, stand at my door and I complain of the foul weather, hail and rain, a pear tree broken by the storm. I count those feathered balls of soot the moorhen guides upon the stream to silence the envy in my thought, and turn towards my chamber, caught in the cold snows of a dream. 6. The star's nest by my window. The bees build in the crevices of loosening masonry, and there the mother birds bring grubs and flies. My wall is loosening, honey bees, come build in the empty house of the stare. Stare. We are closed in, and the key is turned on our uncertainty. Somewhere a man is killed, or a house burned, yet no clear fact to be discerned. Come build in the empty house of the stare. A barricade of stone or of wood, some 14 days of civil war. Last night they trundled down the road that dead young soldier in his blood. Come build in the empty house of the stare. We had fed the heart on fantasies, the heart's grown brutal from the fair, more substance in our enmities than in our love. O honey bees, come build in the empty house of the stare. 7. I see phantoms of hatred and the heart's fullness and of the coming emptiness. I climb to the tower top and lean upon broken stone. A mist that is like blown snow is sweeping over all, valley, river and elms, under the light of a moon that seems unlike itself, that seems unchangeable, a glittering sword out of the east, a puff of wind, and those white glimmering fragments of the mist sweep by. Frenzies bewilder, reveries perturb the mind. Monstrous, familiar images swim to the mind's eye. Vengeance upon the murderers, the cry goes up. Vengeance for Jacques Molay. In cloud pale rags or in lace, the rage-driven, rage-tormented and rage-hungry trooper belabouring trooper, biting at arm or at face, plunges towards nothing, arms and fingers spreading wide for the embrace of nothing, and I, my wits astray, because of all that senseless tumult, all but cried for vengeance on the murderers of Jacques Molay. Their legs long, delicate and slender, aquamarine their eyes, magical unicorns bear ladies on their backs. The ladies close their musing eyes. No prophecies, remembered out of Babylonian almanacs, have closed the ladies' eyes. Their minds are but a pool where even longing drowns under its own excess. Nothing but stillness can remain when hearts are full of their own sweetness, bodies of their loveliness. The cloud-pale unicorns, the eyes of aquamarine, the quivering half-closed eyes, the rags of cloud or of lace, or eyes that rage has brightened, arms it has made lean. Give place to an indifferent multitude, give place to brazen hawks, your self-delighting reverie. I need to polish this up. Nor hate of what's to come, nor pity for what's gone. Nothing but grip of claw, and the eyes complacency, the innumerable changing wings that have put out the moon. I turn away and shut the door, and on the stair wonder how many times I could have proved my worth in something that all others understand or share. But oh, ambitious heart, had such a proof drawn forth, a company of friends, a conscience set at ease, it had but made us pine the more. The abstract joy, the half-read wisdom of daemonic images, suffice the aging man as once the growing boy. 1923. It's a very long chapter, this one, but we continue. 1919. 1. Many ingenious, lovely things are gone that seemed sheer miracle to the multitude, protected from the circle of the moon that pictures common things about. There stood amid the ornamental bronze and stone an ancient image made of olive wood, and gone are Phidias's famous ivories, and all the golden grasshoppers and bees. We too had pretty boys, pretty toys when young, a law indifferent to blame or praise, to bribe or threat, habits that made old wrong melt down as it were wax in the sun's rays. Public opinion ripening for so long, we thought it would outlive all future days. Oh, what fine thought we had, because we thought that the worst rogues and rascals had died out. All teeth were drawn, all ancient tricks unlearned, and a great army but a showy thing. What matter that no cannon had been turned into a ploughshare? Parliament and King thought that unless a little powder burned, the trumpeters might burst with trumpeting, yet it lack all glory, and perchance the guardsman's drowsy chargers would not prance. Now days are dragon-ridden, the nightmare rides upon sleep, A drunken soldiery can leave the mother murdered at her door to crawl in her own blood and go scot-free. The night can sweat with terror as before. We pieced our thoughts into philosophy and planned to bring the world under a rule who are but weasels fighting in a hole. He who can read the signs nor sink unmanned into the half-deceit of some intoxicant from shallow wits, who knows no work can stand, whether health, wealth, or peace of mind were spent on master work of intellect or hand. No honour leave its mighty monument, has but one comfort left. All triumph would but break upon his ghostly solitude. But is there any comfort to be found? Man is in love and loves what vanishes. What more is there to say? That country round none dared admit, if such a thought were his. Incendiary or bigot could be found to burn that stump on the Acropolis, or break in bits the famous ivories, or traffic in the grasshoppers or bees. 2. When Loie Fuller's Chinese dancers unwound a shining web, a floating ribbon of cloth, it seemed that a dragon of air had fallen among dancers, had whirled them round, or hurried them off on its own furious path. So the Platonic year whirls out new right and wrong, whirls in the old instead. All men are dancers, and their tread goes to the barbarous clangour of a gong. 3. Some moralist or mythological poet compares the solitary soul to a swan. I am satisfied with that, satisfied if a troubled mirror show it, before that brief gleam of its life be gone, an image of its state, the wings half spread for flight, the breast thrust out in pride, whether to play or to ride those winds that clamour of approaching night. A man in his own secret meditation is lost amid the labyrinth that he has made in art or politics. Some Platonist affirms that in the station where we should cast off body and trade, the ancient habit sticks, and that if our works could but vanish with our breath, that were a lucky death, for triumph can but mar our solitude. The swan has leapt into the desolate heaven. That image can bring wildness, bring a rage to end all things, to end what my laborious life imagined, even the half-imagined, the half-written page. Oh, but we dream to mend whatever mischief seemed to afflict mankind. But now that winds of winter blow, learn that we were crack-pated when we dreamed. 4. We who 7 years ago talked of honour and of truth, shriek with pleasure if we show the weasel's twist, the weasel's tooth. 5. Come, let us mock at the great that had such burdens on the mind, and toiled so hard and late to leave some monument behind, nor thought of the levelling wind. Come, let us mock at the wise with all those calendars whereon they fixed old aching eyes. They never saw how seasons run, and now but gape at the sun. Come, let us mock at the good that fancied goodness might be gay, and sick of solitude might proclaim a holiday. Wind shrieked, and where are they? Indeed, mockers after that would not lift a hand, maybe, to help good, wise, or great, to bar that foul storm out, for we traffic in mockery. 6. Violence upon the roads, violence of horses. Some few have handsome riders, are garlanded on delicate sensitive ear or tossing mane, but wearied running round and round in their courses, all break and vanish, and evil gathers head. Why is that earring not sitting right? By the gods, it annoys me when that happens. Aha. No. Has a mind of its own. Everything has its own spirit, even earrings created by the Tanya. Wayward and wilful and wild. Can't blame them, can we? We can't blame them for that. Right, where were we? Sorry, got distracted there. We'll start from the top. 6. Violence upon the roads, violence of horses. Some few have handsome riders, are garlanded on delicate sensitive ear or tossing mane, but wearied running round and round in their courses, all break and vanish, and evil gathers head. Herodias' daughters have returned again, a sudden blast of dusty wind, and after thunder of feet, tumult of images, their purpose in the labyrinth of the wind, and should some crazy hand dare touch a daughter, all turn with amorous eyes or angry cries, according to the wind, for all are blind. But now wind drops, dust settles. Thereupon there lurches past his great eyes without thought, under the shadow of stupid straw pale locks, that insolent fiend Robert Artisan, to whom the lovelorn lady Kytla brought bronzed peacock feathers, red combs of her cocks. 1919. The next poem is called The Wheel. Through winter time we call on spring, and through the spring on summer call, and when abounding hedges ring, declare that winter's best of all. And after that there's nothing good, because the springtime has not come, nor know that what disturbs our blood is but its longing for the tomb. Been there many, many times. A former zombie revivified knows these things. Babies. The new faces. If you that have grown old were the first dead, neither catalpa tree nor scented lime should hear my living feet, nor would I tread where we wrought that shall break the teeth of time. Let the new faces play what tricks they will in the old rooms. Night can outbalance day. Our shadows rove the garden gravel still, the living seem more shadowy than they. Been there too, living it now by the gods. Two songs from a play. 1. I saw a staring virgin stand where holy Dionysus died, and tear the heart out of his side, and lay the heart upon her hand, and bear that beating heart away. And then did all the muses sing of Magnus Anus at the spring, and as though God's death were but a play. Another Troy must rise and set, another lineage feed the crow, another Argo's painted prow drive to a flashier bauble yet. The Roman Empire stood appalled. It dropped the reins of peace and war when that fierce virgin and her star out of the fabulous darkness called. 2. In pity for man's darkening thought, he walked that room and issued thence in Galilean turbulence. The Babylonian starlight brought a fabulous formless darkness in, odour of blood when Christ was slain, made all Platonic tolerance vain, and vain all Doric discipline. Everything that man esteems endures a moment or a day. Love's pleasure drives his love away. The painter's brush consumes his dreams. Oh, pardon me. I didn't get to cover my mouth in time. I apologise. Very rude of me. It's just a bit sudden to understand. My rudeness. Uncontained. The herald's cry, the soldier's tread, exhaust his glory and his might, whatever flames upon the night, man's own resinous heart has fed. Putrid it is, people who fake love most putrid evil of them all. Leda and the Swan. A sudden blow, the great wings beating still above the staggering girl, her thighs caressed by the dark webs, her nape caught in his bill. He holds her helpless breast upon his breast. How can those terrified vague fingers push the feathered glory from her loosening thighs? And how can body laid in that white rush but feel the strange heart beating where it lies? A shudder in the loins engenders there the broken wall, the burning roof and tower, and Agamemnon dead. Being so caught up, so mastered by the brute blood of the air, did she put on his knowledge with his power before the indifferent beak could let her drop? 1923. Among school children. 1. I walk through the long schoolroom questioning. A kind old nun in a white hood replies. The children learn to cipher and to sing, to study reading books and histories, to cut and sew, be neat in everything in the best modern way. The children's eyes in momentary wonder stare upon a 60-year-old smiling public man. 2. I dream of a Ledaean body bent above a sinking fire, a tale that she told of a harsh reproof or trivial event that changed some childish day to tragedy, told, and it seemed that our two natures blent into a sphere from youthful sympathy, or else to alter Plato's parable into the yolk and white of the one shell. 3. And thinking of that fit of grief or rage, I look upon one child or t'other there, and wonder if she stood so at that age. For even daughters of the Swan can share something of every paddler's heritage, and had that colour upon cheek or hair, and thereupon my heart is driven wild. She stands before me as a living child. 4. Her present image floats into the mind. Did Quattrocento finger fashion it, hollow of cheek, as though it drank the wind, and took a mess of shadows for its meat? And though never of Ledaean kind, had pretty plumage once, enough of that. Better to smile on all that smile, and show there is a comfortable kind of old scarecrow. 5. What youthful mother a shape upon her lap, honey of generation, had betrayed, and that must sleep, shriek, struggle to escape, as recollection or the drug decide? Would think her son, did she but see that shape, with 60 or more winters on its head, a compensation for the pang of his birth, or the uncertainty of his setting forth? 6. Plato thought nature but a spume that plays upon a ghostly paradigm of things. Solider Aristotle played the taws upon the bottom of a king of kings. World-famous golden-thighed Pythagoras fingered upon a fiddlestick or strings what a star sang and careless muse heard, old clothes upon old sticks to scare a bird. 7. Both nuns and mothers worship images, but those the candles light are not as those that animate a mother's reveries, but keep a marble or a bronze repose, and yet they too break hearts. O presences that passion, piety or affection knows, and that all heavenly glories symbolize, O self-born mockers of man's enterprise. 8. Labour is blossoming or dancing where the body is not bruised to pleasure's soul, nor beauty born out of its own despair, nor blear-eyed wisdom out of midnight oil. O chestnut tree, great-rooted blossomer, are you the leaf, the blossom, or the bowl? O body swayed to music, O brightening glance, how can we know the dancer from the dance? Colonus's praise from Oedipus at Colonus. Chorus. Come praise Colonus's horses, and come praise the wine dark of the wood's intricacies, the nightingale that deafens daylight there. If daylight ever visit where, unvisited by tempest or by sun, immortal ladies tread the ground, dizzy with harmonious sound, Semele's lad, a gay companion. And yonder in the gymnast's garden thrives the self-sown, self-begotten shape that gives Athenian intellect its mastery, even the grey-leaved olive tree, miracle bred out of the living stone, nor accident of peace nor war shall wither that old marvel, for the great grey-eyed Athene stares thereon. Who comes into this country, and has come where golden crocus and narcissus bloom, where the great mother, mourning for her daughter, and beauty drunken by the water, glittering among grey-leaved olive trees, has plucked a flower and sung her loss, who finds abounding Cephissus, has found the loveliest spectacle there is. Because this country has a pious mind, and so remembers that when all mankind but trod the road or splashed about the shore. Poseidon gave it bit and oar. Every Colonus lad or lass discourses of that oar and of that bit. Summer and winter, day and night, of horses and horses of the sea, white horses. Owen Ahern and his dancers, verse 1. A strange thing surely that my heart, when love had come unsought, upon the Norman upland or in that poplar shade, should find no burden but itself, and yet should be worn out. It could not bear that burden, and therefore it went mad. The south wind brought its longing, and the east wind despair. The west wind made it pitiful, and the north wind afraid. It feared to give its love a hurt with all the tempest there. It feared the hurt that she could give, and therefore it went mad. I can exchange opinion with any neighbouring mind. I have as healthy flesh and blood as any rhymer's had. But, oh, my heart could bear no more when the upland caught the wind. I ran from my love's side, because my heart went mad. 2. The heart behind its rib laughed out. You have called me mad, it said, because I made you turn away and run from that young child. How could she mate with 50 years that was so wildly bred? Let the cage bird and the cage bird mate, and the wild bird mate in the wild. You but imagine lies all day, O murderer, I replied. And all those lies have but one end, poor wretches to betray. I did not find in any cage the woman at my side. Oh, but her heart would break to learn my thoughts are far away. Speak all your mind, my heart sang out. Speak all your mind. Who cares? Now that your tongue, cannot persuade the child till she mistake her childish gratitude for love and match your 50 years. Oh, let her choose a young man now, and all for his wild sake. A man, young and old, verse 1. First love. Though nurtured like the sailing moon in beauty's murderous brood, she walked a while and blushed a while and on my pathway stood, until I thought her body bore a heart of flesh and blood. But since I laid a hand thereon and found a heart of stone, I have attempted many things, and not a thing is done, for every hand is lunatic that travels on the moon. She smiled, and that transfigured me and left me but a lout, maundering here and maundering there, emptier of thought than the heavenly circuit of its stars when the moon sails out. That's odd, it jumps from verse 1 to verse 3, and then to verse 6, and then to verse 8. Must be deliberate because of jumping the numbers. Verse 3. The mermaid. A mermaid found a swimming lad, picked him for her own. I do love mermaids. But you've got to come out of the subterranean depths of denial and delusion and treachery and confusion and sit in the sun on a rock and brush out your hair and dream a new dream, a new reality, something to have and to hold, something that loves you equally and stoically and courageously and nobly, someone you can lie in bed with at night and wake up in the morning and spend your days in happiness and success and joy and delight. No harm, no foul, no smite, no spite, no contemptuous derision, no befoulments, day or night. Sorry, I had a little segue there. Just felt inspired, don't mind me. A mermaid found a swimming lad, picked him for her own, pressed her body to his body, laughed and, plunging down, forgot in cruel happiness that even lovers drown. 6. His memories. We should be hidden from their eyes, being but holy shows, and bodies broken like a thorn, whereon the bleak north blows, to think of buried Hector, and that none living knows. The women take so little stock of what I do or say, they'd sooner leave their cosseting to hear a jackass bray. My arms are like the twisted thorn, and yet there beauty lay. The first of all the tribe lay there, and did such pleasure take. She who had brought great Hector down, and put all Troy to wreck, that she cried into this ear, strike me if I shriek. 8. Summer and spring. We sat under an old thorn tree and talked away the night, told all that had been said or done since first we saw the light. And when we talked of growing up, knew that we'd halved a soul, and fell the one in t'other's arms, that we might make it whole. Then Peter had a murdering look, for it seemed that he and she had spoken of their childish days under that very tree. Oh, what a bursting out there was, and what a blossoming, when we had all the summer time, and she had all the spring. 9. The secrets of the old. I have old women's secrets now, that had those of the young. Madge tells me what I dared not think when my blood was strong. and what had drowned a lover once sounds like an old song. Though Marjorie is stricken dumb if thrown in Madge's way, we three make up a solitude, for none alive today can know the stories that we know, or say the things we say. How such a man pleased women most of all that are gone. How such a pair loved many years, and such a pair but one. Stories of the bed of straw or the bed of down. 9. From Oedipus at Colonus. Endure what life God gives, and ask no longer span. Cease to remember the delights of youth, travel-wearied, aged man. Delight becomes death-longing, if all longing else be vain. Even from that delight memory treasures so. Death, despair, division of families, all entanglements of mankind grow, as that old wandering beggar and these God-hated children know. In the long echoing street, the laughing dancers throng. The bride is carried to the bridegroom's chamber through torchlight and tumultuous song. I celebrate the silent kiss that ends short life or long. Never to have lived is best, ancient writers say. Never to have drawn the breath of life. Never to have looked into the eye of day. The second best's a gay good night, and quickly turn away. All Souls' Night, Epilogue to A Vision. Midnight has come, and the great Christ Church bell, and many a lesser bell, sound through the room, and it is All Souls' Night. And 2 long glasses brimmed with muscatel bubble upon the table. A ghost may come, for it is a ghost's right. His element is so fine, being sharpened by his death, to drink from the wine breath, while our gross palates drink from the whole wine. I need some mind that, if the cannons sound, from every quarter of the world can stay, wound in minds pondering, as mummies in the mummy cloth are wound, because I have a marvellous thing to say, a certain marvellous thing none but the living mock, though not for sober ear. It may be all that here should laugh and weep an hour upon the clock. Horton's the first I call. He loved, strange thought, and knew that sweet extremity of pride that's called Platonic love, and that to such a pitch of passion wrought nothing could bring him when his lady died, anodyne for his love. Words were but wasted breath. One dear hope had he, the inclemency of that, or the next winter would be death. Two thoughts were so mixed up I could not tell whether of her or God he thought the most, but think that his mind's eye, when upturned, turned on one sole image fell, and that a slight companionable ghost, wild with divinity, had so lit up the whole immense, miraculous house. The Bible promised us. It seemed a goldfish swimming in a bowl. On Florence Emery I called the next, who finding the first wrinkles on a face, admired and beautiful, and knowing that the future would be vexed with minished beauty, multiplied commonplace, preferred to teach a school away from neighbour or friend, among dark skins, and there permit foul years to wear, hidden from eyesight, to the unnoticed end. Before that end much had she ravelled out, from a discoursin figurative speech, by some learned Indian on the soul's journey, how it is whirled about, wherever the orbit of the moon can reach, until it plunge into the sun, and there, free and yet fast, being both chance and choice, forget its broken toys and sink into its own delight at last. And I call up MacGregor from the grave, for in my first hard springtime we were friends, although of late estranged. I thought him half a lunatic, half knave, and told him so, but friendship never ends. And what if mine seemed changed, and it seemed changed with the mind, when thoughts rise up unbid on generous things that he did, and I grow half contented to be blind. He had such industry at setting out, such boisterous courage, before loneliness had driven him crazed, for meditations upon unknown thought make human intercourse grow less and less. They are neither paid nor praised. Amen to that truth. But he'd object to the host, the glass, because my glass, a ghost lover he was, and may have grown more arrogant, being a ghost. He's looking at you, David Davidson, you ghostly motherfucker-upper. Hasn't been around lately, have you noticed? Maybe he's finally moved on into the light to, annoy someone else. I'll be back, he says. Like the Terminator. You failed to destroy me once, Davidson, and you shall ever fail. Titanium woman, am I right? Survived his spite and smite. to my great cosmic delight. Boy chicks just got training wheels on. Saw through the bullshit at long last. More arrogant being a ghost. There's truth to that, you know. Ghosts are quite arrogant. Like Sir James Douglas that came and stood beside my bed when I asked him who he was, and he said Black Douglas, and I asked him if that was a name of a whiskey. He vanished in a fit of pique. Such arrogance. All he had to do is wait a little and I would have realised that I was dealing with the real thing. No shade and no brand name of a whiskey, but an ancient warrior's compadre, Sir Robert the Bruce, the Scottish King, and Sir James Douglas. Wouldn't be Sir Robert, would it? He was the king. Kings don't anoint themselves sirs. I got that wrong, didn't I, just then? But you know what I mean. Robert the Bruce and Sir James Douglas, who fought beside each other, friends and compadres, to the end, when Sir James Douglas held Robert the Bruce's heart into the fray at Granada, Spain. Blessed be. But names are nothing, what matter who it be, so that as elements have grown so fine, the fume of muscatel can give his sharpened palate ecstasy. No living man can drink from thee whole wine. I have mummy truths to tell, whereat the living mock, though not for sober ear, for maybe all that hear. Och nee, lassie. I've called him in accidentally. For maybe all that hear should laugh and weep an hour upon the clock. Such thought have I that hold it tight, till meditation master all its parts. Nothing can stay my glance until that glance run in the world's despite. To where the damned have howled away their hearts, and where the blessed dance, such thought that in it bound I need no other thing. Wound in minds wandering, as mummies in the mummy cloth are wound. Oxford 1920. Right, we'll stop there. We've got a whole other chapter of the next chapter is from his The Winding Stair and Other Poems book. So we'll save that tomorrow. We'll savour this like a fine matured cheese or wine. It's all lovely and delicious and satiating and soul nourishing and a little bit triggering at times, the synchronicities of my muse. Was that you, Sir James Douglas, inspired me to read this Irish poet, even though ye be a Scotsman? Maybe, he says. Anyway, blessed be people of earth, wherever you are today. Have a wonderful day, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. The time now is currently Brisbane time, 12:05 p.m. I'm a bit tired, but there was a lot of creating and then plitzing and plutzing and fetching and futching and almost fucking eating glass. So I have to be kind to myself today. Be cautious with myself. There's many want me dead, and sometimes I almost fulfill their greatest desires. Form of people pleasing, I suppose. I think not. But anyway, it's kind of a bit of a weird thing. But I'm like that. It can be a bit weird at times. You've probably noticed that if you're a subscriber to my channel, or if you haven't subscribed but you watch me regularly, just out of sheer fascination. What's the silly bitch gonna do next? One can never tell. But at the moment, I've recently made these wonderful earrings and a wonderful pendant to go with the wonderful earrings. Actually, I made the pendant first, and then I made these. So you see, I'm not quite the useless eater that the globalists wish to utterly destroy, send me feckless boys and men's flesh to play cruel, heartless games. Failed again, motherfuckers. Failed again. I'm trying to decide if I'm going dancing tonight. Mike Beale Band is playing at the Brooklyn Standard, and I really like Tim Bishop and his wife. They're lovely people, so I wouldn't mind going to dance and support them. I'll see how I feel later, if I'm not too tired. It's probably time I went back out in the world and danced my dance and perchance my chance and did what I always do by nature. Dance in the face of other people's hate and ignominy. But anyway, like I said, I had a bit of a rough night, not much sleep, and my usual bladder signalling and aggravation, so it may behoove me to be gentle with myself. But wherever you be on planet Earth, stay wild, stay joyous, stay free, and remember, never ever let the bastards grind you down. Amen to that. Great unconditional, universal, cosmic love to us all, fellow humans, even my enemies. You too had your feckless, vicious, nasty little roles to play in the great cosmic play, and many blessings to my beauteous, bounteous, beloved ones who love me and have my back and my sides and my front, no matter who, no matter what. You're out there too. Might not have even met you yet. Might be a love that's destined yet to bloom. My sweet ones, my authentic ones, my fellow warrior gods and goddesses of heart and mind and body and sinew and of soul. You're out there somewhere. So I call you to stand in your own light and your own authority, and to try to remember not many are born like us. We're rare birds and a rare breed. So hold your line and don't despair. Have no fear. We'll find each other out there. Goddess bless.